Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides on political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Okuntoye. In our major story, lawmakers sack Murtala Nyako as Adamawa State Governor as Amadu Umaru steps in acting capacity. Also in this program, Sudan finally extradites suspected co-mastermind of the Yanya bombing, Aminu Guche, to Nigeria. Police detectives arrest suspected senior member of Boko Haram while fleeing a counterinsurgency operation at Bamo Forest in Bauchi State. Outside Nigeria, United States Secretary of State John Kerry warns of great risks of spiraling violence in Gaza, tells Hamas to accept a ceasefire.
Business news. 17 bidders bid for assets of Estwell, Nitel and Mtel.
And on sports tonight, National Women Football Coordinator Aisha Falade pleads common sense over Nigeria FIFA ban.
And we'll begin in Adamawa, where the House of Assembly has impeached Governor Murtala Nyako. The development follows the receipt of the report of the 7-man investigative panel set up by the former acting Chief Judge of the state, Ambrose Mamadi, to investigate allegations of gross misconduct against him and his deputy, Bala Ngilari. Against this backdrop, Ngilari, who is a member of the PDP, has resigned his position as deputy governor of the state. The drama that culminated in the impeachment of Nyako has for weeks attracted attention to the state as the all-PDP member House of Assembly made ceaseless efforts to serve a notice of impeachment before the constitution of the 7-man probe panel. Meanwhile, Speaker of the Adamawa State House of Assembly, Amadu Umaru, has been sworn in as acting governor for the next 3 months. This followed the sacking of former governor Murtala Nyako, who was indicted for gross financial misconduct. The acting governor was sworn in by the acting Chief Judge of the state, Ambrose Mamadi, at the ceremony that took place at the Executive Council chamber of the Government House. In his inaugural speech, the acting governor saluted the courage of the state legislators and urged residents to refrain from acts capable of breaching public peace. Umaru first ruled the state for 2 weeks in acting capacity. That was in January 2012 when the Supreme Court sacked Nyako.
The task before this government is enormous given the level of decay Adamawa State has witnessed in the past several years. It is regrettable that the shameless plundering of the state by the so-called leaders was far greater in scale than the destruction unleashed on the region by insurgents.
And almost as soon as news about Nyako's impeachment filtered out, his private residence in Abuja has been witnessing a lot of movement. His aides confirmed that they had been receiving visitors but would not comment on their mission. Policemen who were visible outside the Asokoro home of the impeached governor also disappeared soon after the impeachment was announced. It's not clear whether Nyako is inside the high-walled residence, but this is where he has been holed up since the impeachment saga began. Now, one of the leaders of the All Progressives Congress, Bukola Saraki, has described the impeachment of Nyako as an assault on democracy. The former Kwara State governor, who is currently a member of the Senate, told journalists in Abuja that the stability of Nigeria's democracy is at stake. And now to security matters. Suspected co-mastermind of the Yaya bombing has been extradited to Nigeria from Sudan. British-born Aminu Oguche was flown into the country in a presidential jet and accompanied by Nigerian members of Interpol. The bomb suspect looked subdued as he walked down the plane between two operatives with his hands cuffed. Oguche, who was previously in the Nigerian army, fled to Sudan shortly after the bomb attack on a bus terminal in April, but was arrested within days. Nigerian authorities are glad that the terror suspect is now back to answer for his alleged crimes.
This is also evidence that the armed forces of Nigeria and security services and all agencies are working hard to put this thing behind us as a nation. So therefore, it is time for all of us to come together, stand with our people, stand with our government, stand with our armed forces and the security services so that we can build a peaceful, united, progressive and prosperous country once again.
Meanwhile, police detectives have arrested a suspected senior member of Boko Haram while fleeing counterinsurgency operation at Bamo Forest in Bauchi State. Police spokesman Frank Umba said in a statement that 30-year-old Mohammed Zakari is the self-styled chief butcher at the insurgent camp in the forest. He is said to be responsible for the recent slaughter of 7 people, including women and children. Umba added that preliminary investigation reveals that the suspect was trained in the art of insurgency at Gombe Forest by a fleeing insurgent, one Abba Taura, before he moved to Bamo Forest about 3 months ago. The police say he actively participated in the April attack against customs officers at Kari Town along Maduguri Road in Bauchi State. And in Lagos, chairman of Amuwo Dofin local government area, Ayodele Adewale, has issued a Save Our Soul message to the Lagos state government on the activities of a group known as Vigilante Vanguard. Now, this is coming against what the community describes as several attacks on its residents by the group. Rashidat Balogun visited the community and brought back this report presented from our studios.
While issuing the Save Our Soul plea to the Lagos state government, Ayodele Adewale says the Vigilante Vanguard has launched several unprovoked attacks on people within the council. He called on the state governor to come to the aid of the people and save their lives and property.
I have written to the CP, I have written to the AIG, I have written to the IG, and I have written to the Police Service Commission. I have written letter to the governor, I have written to the House of Assembly. I have also notified the SSS.
Jola Ogunlusi, Chairman Community Development Committee, Amuwo Dofin Local Government, says the police have not been cooperative, calling for a change to ensure peace and sanity for residents.
So I hope the authority, up to the president, will know that things are not well here. The FHA will come into it, and Minister of Employment should know this, that things are not well here, and it should come to assistance. Thank you.
Some victims of the latest attack say the attackers swooped on them as they made to plant trees at a designated spot in compliance with the Lagos state government's Clean to Green campaign.
On the bike, so I just saw a lot of guys flinging bottles with gunshots all over everywhere, and now they stopped everybody. I saw some people, about 100 people, 100 sort of boys with full weapons, guns, bottles, with all sort of weapons. And why is all this? I don't even know what really happened. What I just had on my head, flinging of bottles.
A lot of people coming out in a mass with different kind of, machetes, arms, charm, and different kind of everything like that. coming to us. You can look at my face here. I was injured. It's not because of the grace of God that I dodged a little bit. It will have punctured my eye.
Telltale signs of the attack is still there for all to see, but an attempt by CoreTV News crew to have an audience with members of the crew met a brick wall as the team had to beat a hasty retreat in the face of an impending attack.
Parents of the abducted Chibok girls on Tuesday failed to show up for a meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan. 5 of the girls who escaped from Boko Haram camp also did not keep their appointment with Mr. President. Now, this was in spite of early assurances they gave the Pakistani activist Malala Yousafzai after her interaction with the president. Presidential aide Doyin Okupe told State House correspondents that the Bring Back Our Girls movement sabotaged the appointment.
Malala was actually threatening that she will not leave unless they agree, or that even that, if they do not agree, she will, dissociate herself from, Bring Back Our Girls.
This is an indication that there's a face-off between the federal government and the Bring Back Our Girls campaign.
It's not a face-off. It's not a face-off. It is a revelation of what we have always been saying, that there's more than meets the eye in this our local branch of Bring Back Our Girls. That the real, it is actually some form of hypocrisy. That their real concern is to play politics, present the president in a bad way, for political reasons. They are not interested in dialogue, as you can see. These folks are interested in playing a political trump card. Everything is geared towards 2015. The whole idea is that Jonathan is unstoppable, and all you need to do is to find a way to wipe off enough sentiments to ensure that he does not present himself, or he cannot be presented for an election. Period.
Malala might not have, perhaps parents of the Chibok girls might not have missed the president, but the PDP reps did, and now they endorse President Goodluck Jonathan for 2015. Details of these and more coming up shortly after this timeout.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
Nigerians continue to travel the city of Lagos waits and dark as all routes.
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west and around Africa. We break the news.
One Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are CoreTV News.
Welcome to CoreTV.
24-hour news station.
Welcome back. Members of the House of Representatives elected under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have endorsed President Goodluck Jonathan for a second term in office. Speaker Aminu Tambuwal was however absent at the meeting that began at about 9 on Monday night at the presidential villa and ended before midnight. It was also not part of a strategic meeting of PDP leaders that ended in the early hours of Tuesday morning. The report.
Members of the People's Democratic Party caucus in the House of Representatives arriving for a meeting with President Jonathan. They were led to the meeting by Deputy Speaker Emeka Ihedioha in the absence of Speaker Tambuwal. State governors elected under the party's platform also turned up for a separate session. But the lawmakers were the first to be hosted by Jonathan, with Vice President Namadi Sambo and Party Chairman Adamu Mwazu also in attendance. At the end, House Leader gave an insight into the closed session.
The purpose of today's meeting was to continue to deliberate on issues affecting our party, but the House caucus on our own decided to pass a vote of confidence on Mr. President and also to endorse him for a second term in office.
Can you let us into the President's response? What was it like? We're not there. Has he accepted?
No, we did an endorsement and we're urging him to run for a second tenure in office.
One will wonder why Mr. Speaker was absent at this crucial meeting.
I'm sure when you see Mr. Speaker, you will ask him that question. He's an individual, so this is a PDP meeting, and obviously if you ask him, he'll be able to tell you why he's not here today.
Shortly after, President Jonathan and other party leaders met with governors elected on the platform. Akwa Ibom State Governor described it as a strategy session ahead of 2015 elections.
We want to strategize on how we can best win the primaries and by implication also ensure that we bring out the best candidates, taking a cue from what has happened in Ekiti State, that if we are able to do proper internal democracy, how we bring out the most popular candidates, then the elections will be less rancorous, and of course PDP will sail through with a view to getting up to 2/3 of the states of the Federation.
He also spoke on the lawmakers' endorsement of President Jonathan.
We are still waiting for INEC guidelines, so Mr. President did not give anybody any answer. He did not say, I will contest, I will not contest. He thanked them for the interest and for the confidence reposed in him. So I think from his body language, he's very mindful of the law, and they need to wait for guidelines from INEC. That was what I noticed. Otherwise,
for now, President Jonathan has not declared his intention to seek re-election, but it's becoming increasingly clear that it will be sooner than later before he makes his intention known.
About 2,000 Nigerian lawyers are currently in Abuja to elect new officers to run the affairs of the Nigeria Bar Association for the next 2 years. The delegates' conference has taken place amidst tight security. Aside from monitoring the process inside the hall, security operatives are also stationed outside to ensure a hitch-free conference. 5 candidates from the Southwest are jostling to lead the NBA, but some delegates are not convinced that the NBA can organize a credible election.
Don't use the word free and fair, use credible. And credible not just in terms of the processes, but also credible in terms of the institution organizing it. I have genuine fears about the credibility of the Nigerian Bar Association in terms of organizing elections. I'm on record. I don't think we're set up to organize credible elections. I don't think the bar right now is set up to organize credible elections, no.
Why?
Because the rules are elastic, the rules are opaque. As at noon, this afternoon, the candidates, we had a list of eligible voters. We did not have a list of accredited voters. You don't go into an election without a list of accredited voters for an electorate of less than 2,000 people. That's wrong. That says we're inefficient. That says we are not properly organized. That says we're not set up to organize proper elections. Now, accreditation ended last night. By the time accreditation ended, we should have had the list of accredited voters passed on to all the candidates and their agents. That didn't happen. Candidates, in the past few minutes, I think the raw numbers have been given to the candidates and their agents, but not the details. That's wrong.
The Federation Account Allocation Committee has shared 684.89 billion naira among the 3 tiers of government For June 2014, the amount was slightly more than what was disbursed in May, but gross revenue of 74.8 billion was lower than the 844 billion recorded in the previous month. The FAC meeting was presided over by Minister of State for Finance, Bashir Yuguda, and as usual had State Commissioners of Finance in attendance. Last weekend, raid on substandard mobile phones at the popular computer village in Ikeja area of Lagos by the Standard Organization of Nigeria has left the traders with a sour taste. Ramsey Nacheme visited the market dubbed the largest mobile phone depot in West Africa and returned with this report.
Solidarity forever, we shall always fight for.
Eyewitnesses said several shops were closed and vendors arrested. Tension rose as salesmen tried to challenge the action of the regulatory body. They were prevented from confronting the authorities by leaders of the market union.
Don't fight, don't break anything, don't go about doing any evil.
The secretary of the Phone and Allied Products Dealers Association, Uche Uchendu, said there was an understanding between them and Sun Authority to rid the markets of fake phones, and effort is being made to comply with the orders. The only problem, he said, is that the authorities of the Standards Organization did not give them enough time to comply.
Before now, we had an MOU with Sun that we will make sure, if not wiped out completely, it will get to minimal level the fake phones in the market and in Nigeria. So what we are saying is, this thing needs time. Something that started over 10 years ago, since 1999 or so, when GSM came into the country. It won't come out and stamp it out in 6 months.
Some of the vendors who spoke to CoreTV News lamented the sudden raid.
This morning when I was passing by, what I saw in Computer Village here was not encouraging. I've known this Computer Village as a place of peaceful people, but this time around I don't know why. You know, the violence keep on. This morning when I asked people around, they said the police people and some members came in here on Saturday claiming they are from government.
My uncle that they whisked away, I was surprised why they took him, because he doesn't sell phone. The information I got around was that he went to tell one of the police officers that the owner of the shop is not on ground. That was why they whisked him away. Why would you whisk him away? So he cannot talk to the police again.
The GSM phone market has attracted from patronage from all parts of Nigeria as it meets the needs of most dealers and retailers across the country. Ramsey Nacheme, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Lagos State Commissioner of Education Olayinka Oladunjoye has urged parents and guardians of children with special needs to turn their disabilities positively and make them useful to the society. This, according to the Commissioner, will help the Lagos State government achieve its special interest in making education accessible to all. This was made known at the annual Stakeholders Forum of the Advocacy Committee on Special Education in Lagos. Olajumoke Olatunji was there.
Education, they say, is the foundation for the development of any nation. The Advocacy Committee on Special Education under the Lagos Ministry of Education has taken a special interest in the usefulness, progress and education of the physically challenged children in the state. The Commissioner of Education, Olayinka Oladunjoye, calls on the general public not to shy away from identifying the physically challenged children with the society. She added that the children deserve the best of education and should not be deprived of their human rights.
We're working hard to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to go to school. We have a yellow card. We tell parents that if your child is not in school and you are caught, you're either going to go to jail or you are going to get a fine, or both, in fact. So, as government, every child should be in school. And for us in Lagos, we're happy that we have gender parity in the state. All our girls, there's no disparity between boys and girls. Even in some areas, we have more girls in school than boys. And indeed, in some places, girls are doing better than boys. So for us, that's not a challenge for us. But we are still advocating and telling parents that they should bring their children to school.
The Chairman, House Committee on Education, Olawale Alawiye King, and Chairman, Advocacy Committee on Special Education Matters, Titi Sholari, says basic education has been made compulsory and free for all.
We have so many policies on education, the national policy on education, the state policy on education, particularly the basic education policy, you understand, that make it compulsory and free for the first basic education, that is the first 9 years. So the states, we have been making sure that we support that policy, and that is what we have been doing.
Lagos State government has made education accessible to all children through what we call inclusive education. This is whereby children with disability and other children learn together in a very conducive atmosphere. There is no discrimination whatsoever in learning in Lagos State.
The committee's objectives include nurturing children with special needs to make positive impacts in the world. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
It's time now to do some business, after which you meet Sabena Izoku standing by for the business news.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
A 24-hour news station.
CoreTV News presents a platform with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be had. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 014-533-407.
A 24-hour news station.
Welcome to the world of business. Despite its moribund state, Nigerian Telecommunication Limited, NITEL and MTEL mobile arms are still attracted to investors as 17 bidders are now prospecting for the core assets in the ongoing guided liquidation exercise of the national telecom carrier. The bidders emerged after the 30th of June deadline for expressions of interest in an exercise being handled by the liquidator appointed by the federal government to dispose of the companies that have defied 3 attempts at the privatization. The Director General Bureau of Public Enterprise, Benjamin Dickey, says 17 bidders are currently being evaluated and will go through the approval process, and that the BPE will announce those that emerge on completion of evaluation after the due diligence process has been carried out. The telecom firms currently have 350 billion naira liabilities, and committees of inspectors comprising the supposed creditors have been formed to audit the assets in the course of their liquidation. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Bank Guarantee Fund, BGF, of Poland to promote capacity building on deposit insurance law and practice. The notice is contained in a statement signed by the Head of Communication and Public Affairs of the NDIC, Hadi Birche, in Abuja. The statement quoted Birche as saying the MOU, which was signed on the 24th of June in Warsaw, the Polish capital, will promote the sharing of experience and the supervision of the finance institutions. The choice of the BGF, Poland, by the NDIC is based on the vast accomplishments and recognition of the Polish stable financial system being led by the current president of the International Association of Deposit Insurance, IADI, Jerzy Pruski, who has wealth of experience in banking and deposit insurance. The NDIC head says the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding will enhance effective implementation of deposit insurance system in the country. The statement says The International Association of Deposit Insurance was set up in 2002 to share deposit insurance expertise with the world and encourage member countries. The Central Bank of Nigeria, in collaboration with the All Nigerian Banks, has introduced Bank Verification Number (BVN) and has advised bank customers in Lagos to enroll and obtain their BVN number. The exercise has gone live in selected banks branches in Lagos. This is the first phase of the country-wide rollout. In view of this, all Nigerian banks have their headquarters servers configured, deployed and tested, and the staff trained in preparation for the enrollment and verification of the end users, while all bank customers. Commenting on the enrollment process, the Managing Director of the NIBSS, who doubles as the head of the BVN project management team, Adeshunibi, says the enrollment process is simple and easy. This initiative addresses issues of identity theft and ensures that the bank accounts is protected from unauthorized access, thus reducing exposure to fraud, and will improve speed of service and reduce queues in banking halls. Hiking importation tariffs on the cars may cause many dealers to close down their business. The chairman of the Car Dealers Association of Nigeria and the Federal Capital Territory chapter, Ajibola Adedoyin, says the implementation of the new automobile industry policy development plan of the federal government, which advocated the hike in the tariff of imported cars, has been rushed by the federal government without considering its consequences in view of the present situation in the industry. Adedoyin also says increasing the tariff to 70% means small cars will cost 600,000, which will be sold for between 1.2 million naira and 1.3 million naira, giving rise to low patronage and unemployment. He therefore urged the federal government to first patronize made-in-Nigerian products for Nigerians to be able to gauge the durability and economy of the cars and give room for competition for people to make their choices. The Senate President David Mark today took a stock of the dwindling fortune of the nation's economy and concluded that a stronger public and private sector cooperation will salvage the situation. Speaking when the executive members of the Lagos Chambers and Commerce and Industry (LCCI) visited him in Abuja, Senator David Mark said such collaboration will give the ailing economy out of the woods. Senator Mark also urged the organized private sector to participate in policy initiation and formulation so that the implementation will not be a challenge. Earlier, the Deputy President of the Lagos Chambers of Commerce and Industry (LCCI), Nike Akonde, briefed the Senate President on the forthcoming conference on the state of the economy of the nation in September 25, 2014 in Lagos. He also advised the government to put measures in place to ensure that the forthcoming electioneering campaign does not negatively affect the economy. On the stock market report, equity transactions in the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. Market capitalization appreciated by 35.53 points to close higher at 42,971.56 basis points. Also, market capitalization, which opened at 14.176 trillion naira, rose close higher at 14.18 trillion naira. In all, a total of 252 million shares valued at 3 billion naira were exchanged in 5,692 deals. Report shows that Mobi PLC topped the gainers chart, followed by 40 Oil PLC, Wapco PLC, Nestle PLC, Chemical and Allied Products PLC. On the other hand, Nigerian Brewers PLC led the losers chart, followed by Ashaka Cements PLC, Guinness PLC, CCNN PLC, and Nascon PLC. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. That's it on business news. Tolu Ojeomi, did you watch that homecoming for the German footballers? I found that very marvellous. But that is not to say that Marcy shouldn't have received credit. I think he did marvellously well as well. Over to you, Tolu, in a moment.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Usain Bolt storming, no, he takes Puyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead and really.
Now, the ever-exciting world of sports with me, Tolu Ojewumi. As a battle to return Nigeria to the international football community following its recent suspension by a World Soccer government body, FIFA gathers steam. National Women's Football Coordinator Aisha Falade says the way out is for common sense to prevail over sentiments and personality clashes. Speaking in Lagos over the crisis, Falade says she's also concerned about the future of women's football in the country, especially as the Canada 2015 Under-20 World Cup beckons on Nigeria as a big hope of Africa at the tournament. She appealed to all concerned, especially Minister of Sports and Chairman, National Sports Commission, Honorable Tammy Dangogo. Those who went to court, especially Mrs. Barabote and others, were aggrieved to tell the sober line for the good of Nigerian football and women's football in particular. The Nigeria Premier League is most likely not to resume for the second round this weekend after the country's club managers met in Abuja late on Monday. The league went on recess after the first round during the World Cup in Brazil, and the league management company slated this coming weekend for the competition to resume. The resumption of the league is to be delayed because of the Federation Cup, and the Federation Cup round of 16 will be played on Thursday across the country, with several Premier League clubs like Enyimba, Economy, Bayelsa United, Sharks and Dolphins involved. Champions Kano Pillars lead the table after the first round of the championship with 34 points from 19 matches. In the meantime, FIFA President Sepp Blatter has supported his organization's decision to ban Luis Suarez from all football-related activities for 4 months. The Uruguay international picked up the sanction after he was found guilty of biting Giorgio Chiellini in his country's World Cup match against Italy in June. The attack was the third of a similar nature in Suarez's career, and although he believes the punishment handed to the 27-year-old is very severe, Blatter has supported the decision. Suarez, who recently joined Barcelona from Liverpool in a deal reported to be worth 95 million euros, is prohibited from entering stadiums and from training. But Blatter is confident the ban will not hinder his talent once he returns to competitive action. And something for you on tennis tonight. Tiger Woods insists winning is his only goal at this week's Open Championship, despite another injury-hit season. Woods, who won the last of his 3 Opens at Royal Liverpool in 2006, had surgery in March for a back injury that made it difficult to get out of bed. But despite playing only 1 tournament since then, the 14-time major champion says there was only one acceptable result at Hoylake this week. The American has not added to his tally since the 2008 US Open, but Woods is adamant he can still succeed at the highest level. That's despite no longer having a monopoly of golf's power game. That's all. A big thank you to you for watching. I'm Tolu Ojewumi. Over now to Nifemi Oguntoye for the rest of the news.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Moving on to the news tonight, United States Secretary of State John Kerry has warned of great risks of spiraling violence in Gaza and called on Arab nations to push Hamas to accept a ceasefire. Kerry says he has decided to cancel a planned trip to Egypt and return to Washington in order to give a Cairo-brokered ceasefire on Gaza conflict time to work. He urged Arab nations to push the Islamist Hamas movement to accept the deal, which it has so far rejected despite approval from Israel's cabinet.
However, there are also very real gaps on other key issues. And what we are trying to do is find a way for Iran to have an exclusively peaceful nuclear program while giving the world all the assurances required to know that Iran is not seeking a nuclear weapon. What is happening there and in the potential of an even greater escalation of violence. We don't want to see that. Nobody does, nor does Israel. But Israel has a right to defend itself. And it is important for Hamas not to be provoking and purposefully trying to play politics in order to gain greater followers for its opposition and use the innocent lives of civilians whom they hide in buildings and use as shields and put in danger. We urge all parties to support this ceasefire. And we support and we ask all the members of the Arab community, as they did yesterday at the Arab League meeting in Cairo, to continue to press to try to get Hamas to do the right thing here, which is cease the violence, engage in a legitimate negotiation, and protect the lives of people that they seem all too willing to put to risk. Prepared. President Obama has said this again and again, to do everything in our power to help the parties come together, to work to create a climate for genuine negotiations, to be able to deal with the issues that truly separate these parties. And we stand prepared to do that. I am prepared to fly back to the region tomorrow if I had to, or the next day, or the next, in order to pursue the prospects if this doesn't work. But they deserve, the Egyptians deserve the time and the space to be able to try to make this initiative work, and we hope it will.
Meanwhile, Kerry and his Iranian counterpart have laid the groundwork for the possible extension of a Sunday deadline to strike a historic nuclear deal after intense talks in Vienna. Both Kerry and Mohammad Javad Zarif say, however, after 2 days of one-on-one discussion which failed to yield any major breakthrough, the negotiators would still keep trying until the July 20 cutoff. Extending the deadline has always been a possibility in order to keep the parties talking. But Washington in particular stressed it would not agree to such a move without key concessions from Iran first.
Support ending Israeli aggression against the people of Gaza and ending the siege, which has tried to, in fact, strangulate a whole population. A choice, not just Iran. It's for everyone to make the choice, and I hope everyone would make the right choice, because this opportunity will not be repeated in the near future. We have an opportunity to change that past, and that is the path that we all need to embark upon. And I'm confident that Secretary Kerry and other colleagues understand that this is a choice that needs to be made by all sides, all concerns, because we believe our program is exclusively peaceful, and we want our program to remain exclusively peaceful. We insist on having a serious, transparent, and internationally monitored peaceful nuclear program, from uranium conversion to Natanz enrichment to fuel fabrication. All of them fit a picture, a perfectly reasonable picture of producing fuel for the Bushehr power plant. All of this makes sense that Iran's program, from the very beginning, in spite of all the hysteria, was exclusively for peaceful use. I think that should be a source of confidence rather than concern for members of the international community.
And that's been the show tonight. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Nifemi Oguntoye, wishing you a pleasant night rest.